Hello world, my name is Otis Smith, and I am a black disabled artist out of California. Today, I want to talk about one of my greatest friends and admired scholars, Leroy F. Moore, who is a co-creator of Crip Hop Nation, as well as co-panelist alongside myself and Keith, as well as Latif, on our podcast, Black Disabled Men Talk, where we use Crip Hop theory as a theoretical lens to examine current political, labor, gender, and all other manner of social issues, be it national or international, stemming from European colonialism, epistemology, and racial oppression. But today, I want to talk about Leroy's amazing book titled Black Disabled Art History 101. In it, I learned about great and interesting figures such as Horace Pippin, who was a World War One vet who received injury to his drawing hand and had to adapt in order to continue to produce art, alongside other figures such as Kiyu Nyasha, who was wheelchair bound while she engaged in revolutionary activity by being a member of the Black Panther Party, organizing free breakfasts to assist with the survival programs, or even Albert George, Al Hibbler, who was not only a jazz and blues musician as well as a radio host, but also participated in the civil rights movement alongside Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. I learned all of this and so much more in Leroy's Moore book, Black Disabled Art History 101, reading countless stories of black individuals, as he say, not overcoming their disability, but allowing their disability to inform their political, social, and cultural resistance against Western normalcy, which is defined and sustained by the disablement of the black body. Leroy's Black Disabled Art History is a beautiful illustration to the Crip Hop theory he, as well as Dr. Tamari Kitosa, expound upon in the amazing anthology titled Appealing Because He is Appalling: Black Masculinities, Colonialism, and Erotic Racism. In the work, it uses a queer, feminist, and intersectional lens to study the evolution of black masculinity within the Western paradigm or model of gender and sexual performance, beginning its analysis by examining the relationship the ancient Greco-Roman world had with the black body, fast forwarding to the transatlantic enslavement trade, all the way to our immediate contemporary period, specifically using Frantz Fanon and James Baldwin's plethora of writings and speeches as the main guiding frameworks. The chapter that Leroy co-authored is Chapter 5, titled A Crip Hop Theory of Disabled Black Men. One of my favorite quotes from this chapter that I believe fits well in how I interpret Leroy's overall body of work goes like this. For Baldwin, as it was for Fanon, with the colonialized, when black men resisted disablement, even at the price of being disabled, disability become not only a recovering of manhood and an act of communal love, but also evidence of the bankruptcy of the liberal project to recuperate and value the disabled body by placing disability at the century of black life as a nurturing and vibrant site for culture, politics, and philosophy. To me, this excerpt is also beautifully illustrated in Leroy's poem titled From Break the Frame, Tell It Like It Is, which is a piece that was inspired by Horace Pippin. In the poem, Leroy writes, A broken opens up the mind to endless possibilities. Like Pippin, adapt to your situation, but always display people's beauty, the inequalities and injustice in society. To me, ever since I have intimately come to understand hip hop theory through the rewarding discourse I have with Leroy personally or from studying his material, be it the amazing chapter in Appealing Because He Is Appalling or the spectacular book Black Disabled Art History 101. I find hip hop theory to be a necessary thread to the black fabric, which, when stitched together, forms the cosmic quilt of blackness, not being defined by others and resisting oppression by struggling for the right to self and collective definition. This work, to me, mirrors what the Afro-Surrealist movement of the 1943, which began in France by great African theorists, poets, and painters such as Aimé Césaire and Edward Glissant, who used paintings and poetry to critique colonialism and challenge Western definitions of normacy, which they did not create but was forced upon them, whom cultivated great revolutionary minds such as Frantz Fanon and James Baldwin. For as Aimé Césaire wrote, poetic knowledge is born in the great silence of scientific knowledge. Now, if you be patient with me, I would love to read a full poem that Leroy have cited in the book Appealing Because He's Appalling, titled Man to Man Talk. And it goes, hey, you, stop. I'm right behind you. I'm black like you, my brother. Yay, the black cripple. Look at me. Hear this. But let's go back. Born DOA, dead on arrival. Cause lack of oxygen to the brain. CP, cerebral palsy. POC, person of color. Big black football player, my dad, in the waiting room. Didn't like the doctor's news. Men in white suits pumping my chest, eyes open. Welcome to the living Leroy. My life, black and disabled. Home was stable. Adults thought I was unable. Like a penny, I have been flipped dual identities. My two communities don't want me. Felt like I was homeless. My childhood hunts me. Children was ruthless. Racism and ableism created a mass. I continue to see single mothers with their disabled sons. Husband gone, could not deal. Mothers strong, had to be real. Black disabled boys from broken homes. Lingering questions, did dad leave because of me? Girlfriends not a reality. Women want my advice but can't see me as a man. Black disabled men are in a stalemate. Will I die a single man? But it's another cold night. The Isley brothers singing between the sheets, while black disabled men sleeping on the streets. Sex education came from the lusty lady. It's a lonely world. Self-employment, self-love, putting society attitudes on the shelf. Black sisters don't know what they are missing. She's a black woman, me, a black disabled man. We was trained to fear, compete, and not talk to one another. Is this why all my intimate relationships are with white women? Race plus disability divided by sexuality equal, I was 3/5 of a person with a disability. I'm not even on a scale. Disability and masculinity can we talk? Black masculinity has to make room for my body as Teddy Pendergrass, the black stallion of the 70s and 80s, regaining sexuality as a wheelchair user. Now that is the true strength of a man, black disabled and masculine. Morris Davis, what time is it? Somebody bring me a mirror, 'cause I know I'm fine. Masculine mixing with feminine. Like all of us, I came from a world and a man. My sexuality goes deeper than what we see. But you treat me like Ralph Ellison, Invisible Man, bumping up against our shadows. It took 40 years to walk with my head up, saying black is beautiful and disability is gorgeous, too sexy for society's straitjacket, wearing my sexuality on my sleeves, my body, mind, and soul, stepping into the spotlight. You see, society tries to put me down, but you can't keep a good man down. This is a message to all my black disabled brothers. Feel your masculinity and step into your sexuality. Brothers, it's time we all had a man to talk to. And again, this is Leroy's poem, Man to Man Talk. And it's from the anthology that he participated in chapter 5, called Appealing Because He Is Appalling. Returning to the book, Black Disabled Art History 101 by Leroy is a breath of fresh air in a world that dichotomizes everything, especially those with disability. While if you read Appealing Because He Is Appalling, a book I cannot recommend enough, as you see, argues disability is not a demarcating line, but the demarcating line, which Western society uses to define its entire existence, separating normal from abnormal, the blessed from the accursed, the intelligent from the incompetent, the beautiful from the ugly, the real from the pseudo-human. It feels good to see people such as the recent Grammy winner as Tony Hickman able to succeed while needing to narrate the story of them as overcoming their disability, as if the solution to solving systemic oppression is for individuals to overcome their racial, gender, sexual, any form of identity, opposed to destroying that very real system which imposed the unjust and unnatural hierarchy to begin with. Nor does it make paraplegic and playwrights such as Lynn Manning a victim to their disability. Instead, it places disability where it belongs, as a diversified existence. Speaking of diverse, Leroy's book have more than a diverse catalog divided into sections for visual art, musicians, dancers, actors, and actresses. Black Disabled Art History 101 is both revolutionary and has something for everybody. Thank you again, and my name is Otis Smith.